Hello, welcome to another golden opportunity to fix it all. The title of this presentation is Use Mental Pivoting and Mental Alternating to fix anything in your life. First, I'm going to describe the technique to you, and then I'm going to guide you through a few examples and variations of it. Mental pivoting is the act of shifting attention from what you don't want to what you do want. Simple as that. Don't want to be poor? Well, then why you focus on it? Focus on being rich. Don't want to be fat? Well, then why are you focusing on it? Focus on being slim. Don't want to be lonely? Well, then why are you talking about being lonely? Focus on being together. Okay? Mental pivoting is the act of shifting attention from what you don't want to what you want. It can't get more simple than that. Mental alternating is the act of shifting attention back and forth from what you don't want to what you want several times. So let's talk about simple mental pivoting first. You should have enough attention on the unwanted to know what it is and to no longer run from it, to face it, to confront it. But you shouldn't have so much attention on the unwanted that you start feeding it energy. Okay, you know what it is, you know where the monster is, what the monster is, but you don't go feeding the monster. You see? Enough attention to confront instead of being afraid, but not so much that you keep recreating the same problem. A general rule of the thumb is there should be 3 or 4 times more attention on what you prefer than on what you don't prefer. If you talk about the problem for 1 minute, then you should talk about what you prefer or the intention or the goal for, say, 3 minutes. If you've been complaining for 10 minutes, you can counterbalance that by praising and appreciating for 30 minutes. So I don't say never complain. I don't say never point out the truth. I don't say never get angry. I don't say never talk problems. It's an important part of life. And if you don't do that, you're in denial. If you never talk problems, never complain, never downgrade, never be negative, you're in denial. However, if you're going to do that, you should counterbalance it with what you prefer instead and give that at least double the amount of attention. You know, you can really help complainers by asking them, what do you want instead? And if they're really angry, they're not going to want to go there because you're getting them out of their anger with just one question. Well, what do you want? What is it you want instead? If those ungrateful gripers keep going on, you can tactfully shift their awareness to preferred things. And initially, they might revert back to what they're used to. You know, we always revert back to what we're used to. That's the whole problem with creating new realities. We make an effort in this direction, but then when the going gets tough, back to what we're used to. That's why the new preferred realities have to become the thing that you're used to, the normal default. Over time, they realize that it feels better, stronger, healthier to be with what they prefer Let's talk about alternating. If you find it difficult to pivot or focus on preferred outcomes, I prescribe alternating. This is like turning a light switch on and off and on and off and on and off several times. You gain command of the thing you keep switching on and off. So you focus on the unwanted for 10 to 30 seconds, then on the wanted, then again on the unwanted, then the wanted, then the unwanted, then the wanted, then the unwanted, unwanted, wanted, until you don't even know what you're focusing on anymore. That's how you gain control of your attention. Because the problem is that your attention automatically, you choose to pivot, you choose to prefer on the focus, but then it automatically reverts back to what you're used to the habitual negative focus. And we have many payoffs and reasons for why we continue to focus on the things we claim we don't want. But this exercise gets rid of even that, and you don't even have to work on the underlying subconscious stuff. All you need to do is regain control. Now, of course, throughout the process, a lot of subconscious stuff may come up. That can be part of the process, and so just allow that to come up. That's okay. It's not good or bad, it's just emotions passing through, as I like to say. So all this puts power back to the creator of these thoughts. You know who that is? That would be you. So an example alternating session might be somebody comes into my coaching and says, Fred, I've been single for a long time. I no longer wish to be single. Please help. And I'll say, okay, let's fix it. Let's do an alternating session. Staying on each item 10 to 30 seconds each. So why don't you close your eyes now? And if in fact that's your issue, you don't want to be single anymore, you can participate right now. Imagine being single. Okay, thank you. Now imagine being in a relationship. Thank you. Once more, imagine being single. Imagine being single for a long time. Months and years go by. Thank you. Now let's pivot and imagine being in a relationship, also for a long time, for years and years and years. All right, let's go back to the other side and imagine being single and being happy with that. I'm single and I'm happy with that. And now imagine being in a relationship and being happy with that. I'm in a relationship and I'm happy with that. Once more, imagine being single. Once more, imagine being in a relationship. And imagine being single. And in a relationship. And single. And relationship. And single. And relationship. Back to single now. And relationship. No, single. No, relationship. Single. Relationship. Single. Relationship. All right, that's enough. Thank you. And if you followed along now, if that was a topic that concerns you, you already feel the shift, the attitude shift, because you're more easily able now to keep your attention on what you prefer. The unpreferred is neutralized because it's been confronted and accepted without resistance. It's even been imagined as happy, and the other side is practiced. Shifting to it is also practiced. Of course, I always add secret coach's toolbox tricks into the mix. For example, I said once that you're happily single and happily in a relationship, knowing that subconsciously you'll be resisting both sides. That's why you're in the conundrum that you are. And that's a tip that I'm giving you here when you do the exercise. See if you can reduce resistance on both sides. I know it's hard to imagine that you have resistance on what you claim to prefer, but you too have resistance on that side, not only on the unpreferred side. One time I said, be single for a long time and then be in a relationship for a long time, because that brings up additional resistance layers on both sides that require processing. And then doing it more quickly at the end neutralizes strong attachments to either side. But these coach's tricks are not something you necessarily need to do or worry about. The technique is simple. Pivot, or if pivoting is not enough, alternate until you regain control of your attention, because your attention is what creates your perception of reality. Your perception of reality is what animates action and emotion and inner state. Your attention is responsible for much of what you experience. Now I'm going to guide you through another pivoting session, but this time neutral, without a specific topic, so that anybody can follow along. So next time you don't have to watch through the whole video. You can simply go to the last part that guides you through the meditation. Okay, let's go. Focus on something you no longer wish to experience. Allow that simply to come up and be there. You don't want to experience anymore, I understand, but experience it intentionally now as best you can. And then become aware of something you'd like to experience instead of that. What's the preferred reality? And then shift back to the so called non preferred reality. Imagine experiencing that more fully, longer. Embrace it, if you will. If you're already experiencing it, you might as well embrace it. Because pushing it away is not going to make it go away if it hasn't so far. And then shift your attention back to preferred reality, preferred outcomes. And then shift attention back to the unpreferred reality and be okay with it, rest with it, accept it. Imagine that you might not be able to change it, so just accept it, be with it. And so what, and then what? That's just the way it's been, and the way it is, so what? Try to get a sense of relaxation with it. And then shift your attention back to the preferred reality or outcome and relax with that. Imagine that's just the way it is, as if it were that way. I've achieved this preferred outcome, this beautiful reality, and that's just the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it. So I settle into this and accept my happy outcome. That's the way it is. I said, that's just the way it is, and period. End of story. And then shift attention back to the unpreferred, and then back to the preferred, unpreferred, and the preferred. Always ending the exercise with the preferred, and we shall end it now. Of course, you should spend a little bit more time with the preferred than with the unpreferred. One more thing to know is that you can do this verbally. You can describe the non-preferred reality, then describe the preferred reality, making sure you spend double the time description on the preferred reality. You can also do it in writing. You can write everything you know about the non-preferred reality, but then write even more on the preferred reality. And then you switch back and forth, until you feel that it's easy to turn the light switch on and off, and easy to identify with the reality that you prefer. The secret of pivoting and alternating ultimately is that if you can stay identified with the reality you prefer for a while, this is going to alter your feeling, your perception, and your actions, which make it much, much, much more likely that the outcome you prefer will happen, will come to be. Now, it's no guarantee, of course, but it's very much more likely, statistically. And that is pivoting and alternating, a method to fix anything.